What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Horror. This is Ethan Horror, and today we are on episode 12 of my Halloween Spooktacular, and we are going to be going through my top 10 creature feature horror movies of all time. And yes, this is filmed on the same day as I filmed the top 10 horror movie weapons, simply because I'm going to need 2 days to get my top 50 horror movies ready. But it will come out on the 12th. I'm going to schedule an upload, and it will come out on the 12th. So it will come out on the same day. It's just filmed the day before. That's why everything looks the same. But we got a horror movie Funko Pop to unbox for our episode 12 of our Halloween Spooktacular. So let's just get right into this. Last time we got Freddy. This is a big one. Jesus Christ. It is Lydia Deetz from Beetlejuice. She has a huge red dress on. That's why it's like... And also her hair is huge. Honestly, this might be one of my favorites of the Funko Pops that we've gotten. Simply because like it's so big and detailed. Yeah, I really would say it's probably one of my favorites. And we only have one left. And I think I might know who it is. But I'm not going to let you guys know. Because I want it to still be a surprise for you guys. So this one's going to go up there. And let's get into my top 10 creature features.
Here's Johnny.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! This is God.
Okay, before we get into this, Jason in the part 6 onward, I'm not considering him a creature, even though he's not a human. I'm not counting that because it's not a creature feature. It's clearly not. But number 10, I have The Fly, and this is the remake with Jeff Goldblum. This is, I think, the better one. I haven't seen the original, but I'm going to assume it's not as good because I haven't heard very many good things. But this one actually is pretty good. It's about a professor, Seth Brundle, who turns himself into a fly because he tries to make a teleportation machine. And I think it works really well. Like, the science probably doesn't make any sense, but it's a guy trying to make a teleportation machine, but, like, the science goes wrong, where he accidentally gets in the chamber with a fly, and then it teleports the fly and himself into the next one, but it morphs it into one organism, and that forms Brundlefly, which is, I think, a great design of a creature. It's got some great practical effects, and I think definitely worthy of a spot in the top 10. Number 9 is going to be my hot take of the video, and that's going to be Slither. A lot of people don't know about this movie. It's actually by James Gunn, the guy who does the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So, pretty well-acclaimed director, and Michael Rooker's in it, and he plays Yondu, as well as some other characters like Merle from The Walking Dead. So he's really well-known as well. And it even has Pam from The Office in it. So, I think it should be more well-known. I don't think it's incredible by any means. I've always loved it, but I mean, I understand if you don't like it, as long as you give it a shot, because, you know, there's a chance you'll love it, and in my case, I loved it. I had seen, like, clips from this movie on, like, YouTube, but, I had never really watched it, but, eventually got around to watching it. I think it was on, like, some streaming service a while back. And I really liked it. It was kind of like Tremors, like, you know, no, not Tremors. I don't know what movie I'm trying to picture in my head, but it's kind of like, there's like worms all over town, and they're infecting people so that they can like melt into one giant monster. I think it's a great creature feature. I think it's a great movie, but I understand if you don't like it. Coming in at number 8, we have A Quiet Place. This one I struggled to call a creature feature because the creature is barely even featured until the very, very end. But I'm going to say it's a creature feature because, I mean, the main killer is a creature. You just don't really see it till the end. So I can't fault it for that. It is definitely a creature feature, and I think it is a great movie. Great, really suspenseful. Got some scary moments and great acting. I think John Krasinski and Emily Blunt were perfect casting, even though it was just kind of like that. It happened to be John Krasinski's wife. Why Emily Blunt was casted, like she's amazing, and the kids are played great, and I think it's a terrifying concept that like you can't make any noise. How is that? That's just so scary to me. Like, you can't make any noise, otherwise you get killed. So, I think A Quiet Place is for sure a top 10 creature feature movie. Number 7, this is another one I struggled to call a creature feature movie, but not because the creature is barely featured, because the creature is, like, kind of not a creature. I don't know, but I put it on the list. Number 7, I have Jennifer's Body. I don't know if this is a creature feature. She's kind of like a creature. I don't know what she is, but I'd consider that a creature. And I actually really like Jennifer's Body. The script was interesting, but not bad. I just noticed that it was interesting. Got some great leading actors. Chris Pratt shows up in a cameo. Like, what? I think this is like his first movie, too, so it's strange why he's in it. But I think it's a great horror movie. I think it's got some scary moments. I think it's got some sad moments. I really like Jennifer's Body. In at number 6, I have Cabin in the Woods, and also not really sure if it's a creature feature because it's not really focused on the creatures, but there's definitely a crap ton of creatures going around killing everybody, so I threw it on the list, and I think it's a great horror comedy. One of the best horror comedies, I'd say. I'm not a huge horror comedy fan. I mean, I liked Bodies, Ready or Not. Shaun of the Dead's fine. I've never really loved it like everyone else has. But I feel like Cabin in the Woods is like the perfect mix between horror and comedy. Because I feel like sometimes they lean a little too hard into the comedy and pull away from the horror for it to be like a perfect horror comedy. But this one has some good like horror moments and some good funny moments. So I think it's a perfect horror comedy with a bunch of creatures sprinkled throughout, like the merman, and the unicorn. Those were the two standouts for me, but I love Cabin in the Woods. Coming in at number 5, I have The Mist. Now, again, the main villains of the movie aren't the creatures in The Mist. The main villains are the people on the inside of the store, which is what makes this movie so great, is that there are creatures going around that are a very dangerous threat, but they're also causing people on the inside of this store to turn on each other and end up killing each other in the end. And it has one of the saddest endings in any movie. Like, not even just any horror movie. That ending is, it'll get ya. Yeah, it's something alright. Coming in at number 4, I have the original Jaws. Jaws, for me, is a perfect movie. I mean, it created the blockbuster, and for good reasons. It's a great movie. I love what Jaws did I love not only what Jaws did for the genre, but I love not only what Jaws did for the genre, but what it did for film as a whole. I think without Jaws, you don't have blockbusters today. Like, it literally was... It came out at the perfect time as well to kind of kick off blockbusters. And, I mean, it's scary. It's got some scary moments. I mean, I've never been personally terrified of it, but it's got some dark moments that make you tense. Like the monologue on the ship. I mean, that's pretty much known as, like, one of the scariest scenes in the movie. The opener... I mean, it's iconic, but I wouldn't really say it's scary. I know it scares a lot of people, but it's never scared me. But it does actually have some good jump scares and good kills in it, which is weird for a movie. Like, you wouldn't think Jaws would have good kills, but it does. Coming in at number 3, I have Predator. Now, Alien, none of those movies made the list. I thought they would. I think Aliens would probably be 11, but they didn't. But Predator did, because Predator is really cool, and I love him. Like, he has to be one of the coolest horror villains, and I know I've talked about this so many times on this channel, but he is, like, the coolest horror villain ever. Between his plasma caster, his wrist blades, his thermal vision, just, his face, just the alien face that he has, and, like, his braids are all, like, he is... God, I love the Predator. Coming in at number 2, I have The Thing. This is the John Carpenter version, not the prequel, or even The Thing from Another World. This is the John Carpenter classic, because it has some of the best practical effects you'll ever see in a horror movie. And it has some good moments, some good jump scares, and great characters. Because, like, the best horror movies are making your characters as smart as humanly possible and having the situation get out of their hands, and this is what it does. The characters are super smart, but The Thing is such a menacing villain that they can't take down. And no matter how hard they try and how much they plan, they cannot do it. I mean, the blood test scene where they're, like, figuring out who is a thing and who is not, that's a great scene. And, like, even though you, like, are, like, thinking, okay, now these people aren't the Thing, you still know they're so screwed. Like, The Thing is great. But it cannot beat out my number 1, because it's my number 1 horror movie of all time. It's going to be It, 2017. Now, I've talked about this movie 3 times now. I think I talked about it in my lightning round movie rankings, my top 10 movies of all time, and my Stephen King rankings. So, I've talked about this movie a few times. I love it. Because if you want me to like a movie, give it great characters. And that is exactly what The Losers Club is for me. Great characters. I absolutely love all of The Losers Club, and especially their performances. I think they're good in the original It, but I prefer their performances in this. I think they are played to perfection. All of them. Because, like, I mean, the original had some good performances, but it also had some not so good performances. I think all of these are good. And, you know, it's a longer horror movie. It's like 2.5 hours. So, like, I think, especially if you're telling a story like this, that's probably the perfect runtime. It Chapter 2 felt way too long, so there's that. But It 2017, for sure my number 1. And that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and go check up on all the other videos I've done before this. And make sure to stay tuned for my top 50 horror movies of all time, because it's coming. And it's going to take a while, so that's why I'm taking a day off, so I can get that thing done. But until then, I'm Ethan Horror. This has been Ethan Horror.